Hello and welcome back to Toto's Tales, and for our third and final care guide of the new year, this is all the basics of your Crested Gecko care and setup. Now, unlike the other two videos, unfortunately I do not have my Crested Gecko out, Grogu, because basically he's not as handleable as Rex, my ball python, and Ahsoka, my leopard gecko. Crested Geckos can be a bit either or. Grogu just now though is very young, so we're still in the bonding session where I'm not really able to just go and grab him and get him out. However, we're getting there, so across this year you definitely will see him on the channel, and there's going to be some B-roll footage of him anyway. But yeah, so let's start where we started the other two videos with Vivariums. Now, Grogu's Vivarium is actually in front of me here. This light that you can see on my hand is actually Grogu's Vivarium. So unfortunately, you're not able to see it in shot. But he is in an 18 by 18 by 24 Exoterra Vivarium. It is all glass as opposed to Rex and Ahsoka's, which are wood Vivariums. He is all glass completely, and crucially, the difference between these two and Grogu is that he is in a fully bioactive setup. Now, eventually I will be upgrading Grogu into 24 by 18 by 36, but just now he's just too little. Just now I'm more keeping him around in this because he's getting more comfortable in it, and then in about a year I will be upgrading him into a bigger one. Again, like with ball pythons, like with leopard geckos, there is no worries about putting a small animal in a big vivarium as long as they feel safe and it is cluttered. Bigger is always better because it gives them more room to roam about in, but as long as you have the correct supplements, decor, plants, whatever you have, you need to make them feel safe. We then move on to heating, which is a lot different to leopard geckos and ball pythons because they have quite high temperatures, whereas Crested Geckos can go in basically all European and North American household temperatures. So that is roughly between 22 and 26 degrees Celsius, so roughly 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, some people will say that means you don't need to have any heating equipment. Whilst that can be true depending on your area where you are in the world, I would always say have it there as a backup. I have a deep heat projector set up with a thermostat locked in just in case that anything happens. There's a power cut, there's a sudden thaw. I'm in Scotland, so it can suddenly get really cold at points. Just in case the temperature does drop below that, it allows Grogu to have that protection. Regardless, please do not exceed 28 degrees, which is roughly about 82 Fahrenheit, I think. That can be incredibly damaging to your Crested Gecko, could cause heat stroke, could cause other neurological issues, and eventually they will die. So heating's really, really important. Another aspect of importance is humidity. So there's some people who will say you need to keep your Crested Gecko at a minimum of 70% humidity at all times because that's what you see when you look up their natural environment. However, that's true and not true. They do experience very high humidity, however, that can disperse throughout the day. So my stance on it is if you have your Crested Gecko's vivarium in the daytime, being around 50 to 60%, but then when it turns to night, when the cooler temperature comes in, you can then bump the humidity up by spraying, and then it will drop throughout the next 24 hours or 48 hours whenever you need to mist. If you keep it below 40% or even 50%, there's a high chance that your gecko would suffer from respiratory infections and may struggle shedding. Likewise, if you keep it too high, there's a high chance that the shedding will happen more often and respiratory infections could happen the other way. So aim for between 70 and 80% at night, but then let that drop. It's okay to let it drop. UVB is also very important to Crested Geckos. I currently have an Arcadia UVB bulb above my Crested Gecko vivarium, along with a grow light, because I have a bioactive vivarium, which means I have real plants. There is a cleanup crew, a drainage layer. That will be more of a video in and of itself about bioactive equipment. That's not necessary for the kind of beginner people who are watching this, who are just getting a Crested Gecko for the first time. However, that does bring us on to Substrate. So, as ever, there's a variety of options. Some people keep theirs on paper towel. it can be a bit harder to keep the humidity up in that way, but paper towel is absolutely fine. I use, even before I went bioactive, Arcadia Earth Mix, not the arid one that Ahsoka, my leopard gecko, has, just Earth Mix. Straight up Earth Mix, just soil, so that's loose substrate as well. Again, totally fine for your Crested Gecko as long as it is approved for Crested Geckos. That then, again, seamlessly brings us on to the kind of other stuff in the vivarium. It needs to be cluttered. Clutter, clutter, clutter. If you've watched any of my other care guides, you will know that is the main word. Plants, logs, branches, anything you want, as long as it's reptile safe, fill it. Obviously, because this is a higher vivarium as opposed to longer vivarium, there will need to be branches, elevated perches for Crested Geckos to reside in, sleep in, feel safe in, and hide in. So, again, just fill your tank with everything. And finally, food. So, unlike ball python, which is mice and rats, unlike leopard gecko, which are insectivores, Crested geckos can live and do live off of a powdered diet mostly. So I use Pangea. As you can see here, this is the apricot version. However, much like I was saying with the leopard geckos and variety is very important with Crested geckos as well. Don't just get one flavour and then just feed that until it runs out. Some Crested geckos will want that. They can be a wee bit picky eaters, so if you find something that works with your Crested gecko, go with that. However, I would always recommend to vary it up as possible, get a bunch of different flavours. Additionally, adult Crested geckos can have something like a dubia roach every now and then, but generally stick to that powdered diet. And that's everything. That is all the basic stuff you will need. Again, throughout this year, I will go more in depth with Crested Gecko care. That is more like once you're in, you're set up and how you can take your care to the next level. That's really important. But just now, that should be everything you need. Once again, all this information was found from Crested Gecko subreddits, from creators I've been watching for a very long time, and the 9 months that I've been looking after Grogu, what I've learned in that time. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment and subscribe. Let me know what type of videos you would like to see from this channel moving forward. I've really enjoyed doing these care guides. Got loads of stuff planned for this year. I hope to see you then. So, until then, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.